Ethan Carlisle stared out the window of his sleek New York City apartment, the evening skyline blurred by a faint drizzle. At 48, the lines on his face told of battles fought in boardrooms and broken relationships alike. His dark eyes, sharp and calculating, reflected years of hardened resilience. His phone buzzed, an incoming call from his son, Noah. "Dad, the wedding's next month." Noah's voice was hesitant. "Mum has ... blocked me from sharing details. She's making it difficult." Ethan's jaw tightened. Olivia, his ex-wife of 14 years, had always been controlling, but this was a new low. "Where is it happening?" Ethan asked quietly. Noah hesitated. "At the Hawthorne estate. Lexi's father is involved. They want you there, but Mom is making sure you aren't." Ethan swallowed the bitterness rising in his throat. For over a decade, Olivia had kept him at arm's length, manipulating every facet of their son's life. But this wedding would be different. His assistant, Jenna, knocked lightly before entering with a folder. "The Hawthorne file, as requested," she said. "Thank you, Jenna." Inside the folder were detailed profiles of Olivia's new husband, Derek, and the Hawthorne family old money, influence, and a reputation Ethan knew all too well. The bride's father, Gregory Hawthorne, was a man who valued honor and loyalty. But Ethan suspected he didn't yet know the full truth about Olivia or Derek. Ethan's mind drifted back to the bitter custody battle years ago. "I want full custody of Noah," Ethan had said, voice steady despite the storm inside. Olivia's lawyer had scoffed. "Unreasonable," she'd said. Olivia herself had sneered. "You're just a distant memory to Noah, a man who works too much, who abandoned us emotionally." Ethan had met her glare without flinching. "I built everything for him. I'm not giving up love." She'd dismissed it as a transaction. But Ethan knew better. He loved his son fiercely, and his patience had been endless. Now, as he closed the folder, Ethan's eyes hardened. This wedding would be his chance, not just to reclaim a place in Noah's life, but to expose the secrets Olivia thought were buried. He picked up his phone, dialing a number only Jenna knew. Phase 1 starts tonight. The Hawthorne estate. Sprawled across a manicured lawn, dotted with ancient oaks and pristine fountains, Ethan arrived just as the sun dipped below the horizon, the sky painted with shades of orange and purple. He handed his keys to the valet with practiced ease and adjusted his tailored jacket. Gregory Hawthorne greeted him at the grand entrance, his silver hair perfectly combed and his expression unreadable. "Mr. Carlisle, finally. Lexi speaks highly of you," Gregory said, extending a firm hand. Ethan smiled thinly. "She's a remarkable young woman. She deserves nothing less." As they walked into the grand hall, Ethan's eyes quickly scanned the room. Olivia stood near the center, flawless and poised, her smile tight and eyes calculating. Beside her, Derek, once a promising businessman, now carried the weight of recent failures etched in the lines on his face. Noah approached, his expression a mix of excitement and tension. "Dad, glad you made it." Ethan embraced his son briefly. "Wouldn't miss it." Dinner was a delicate dance of polite conversation and hidden agendas. Olivia, fueled by several glasses of wine, soon brought up the wedding details with a pointed smile. "We decided Derek and I will escort Noah down the aisle," she announced, voice dripping with challenge. A hush fell over the table. Ethan's eyes never left Olivia. "Noah and I have discussed this. I'll be walking him down the aisle," Ethan said quietly, but firmly. Olivia scoffed. "Derek has been the father he needed these past years." Gregory cleared his throat, his voice calm but authoritative. "Tradition dictates both biological parents have their role, regardless of the past." Ethan met Olivia's glare steadily. "Whatever Noah wants." Olivia's smile turned sour. "Of course." Later, on the terrace, Olivia cornered Ethan, her voice low but fierce. "I know you've been digging into our lives. Derek saw your men tailing him last month in Chicago." Ethan's brow arched slightly. "Derek does travel often." She leaned closer, breath smelling of wine. "Stop. Whatever you're planning, just stop. You've done enough damage." Ethan's phone buzzed. A text from Jenna, package secured. If Derek's struggling, maybe it's time he faces the consequences of his own choices, Ethan said smoothly. Olivia's voice dropped to a hiss. I'll make sure you're not at that wedding. Ethan's smile was faint but resolute. We'll see. 3 weeks before the wedding, Derek Reynolds stormed into Ethan's office. Sweat slicking his forehead, desperation etched into every line of his face. You have to help me, Derek pleaded. The Hawthorne investments are collapsing. I'm going to lose everything. Ethan leaned back, steepling his fingers. Why should I? Because Noah's future is on the line. If the Hawthorns pull out, the wedding's off. Ethan's eyes narrowed. What exactly did you do? Derek's confession was textbook recklessness, over-leveraged assets, risky promises, and a sinking fund that should have been safeguarded. Ethan's quiet plan was unfolding perfectly. You're reckless, Ethan said coldly, but I might consider helping. On one condition. Derek's gaze snapped up, wary. Transfer your voting shares in Reynolds Capital to my holding company. The room fell silent. That's my company, Ethan added, voice steady. And your last chance? Derek's face twisted. You planned this, all of it. Ethan didn't deny it. You have until tomorrow. As Derek left, Ethan's security chief, Roman, entered through a side door, handing over a flash drive. The Chicago files, sir. Everything girlfriend, offshore accounts, even property under her name. Ethan nodded, and Olivia? No sign of her involvement. She's completely in the dark. Good. Ethan's gaze hardened. Send those files anonymously to the Hawthorns' legal team. Let the truth surface at the right time. Roman hesitated. Sir, have you considered how this might affect Noah? Ethan's voice was firm. Everything I've done is to protect him from those who would use him. They made their choices. I'm just making sure they live with the consequences. The Delancey Ballroom at the Hawthorne estate was transformed into a breathtaking spring garden. Ethan arrived early, dressed impeccably in a tailored tuxedo, his eyes scanning the seating chart with measured calm. Olivia's sharp gaze found him immediately. She stormed over, Derek trailing behind, looking pale and unsettled. You're not invited. Ethan, Olivia hissed loudly enough for nearby guests to hear. Security, escort him out. A burly guard approached. Sir, I need you to leave. Ethan nodded smoothly. No need for a scene. If anyone asks, I'll be at the bar across the street. He handed the guard his card and exited the grand hall, pulling out his phone as he walked through the lobby. He dialed his attorney. Caroline, execute protocol, Omega, all files now. 20 minutes later, Ethan sat at the hotel bar, sipping a neat bourbon. The door burst open. Gregory Hawthorne stepped in, his face ashen, hands trembling. What did you do? Gregory demanded, scanning the room until he locked eyes with Ethan. This marriage is off because of you, he said, voice tight. Ethan gestured to the chair. Across from him, sit Gregory. Let's talk. Gregory slumped into the seat, his expression a mix of fury and disbelief. The documents, the Chicago files, the money. How long have you known? Ethan nodded slowly. Long enough. Derek has been diverting your investments to offshore accounts tied to his mistress for years. I ensured you'd find out before the wedding. Gregory's eyes narrowed. This isn't just about protecting Noah and Lexi. This is revenge. Can it be both? Ethan asked, signaling the bartender for another drink. Derek stole more than a marriage, Ethan said quietly. He betrayed your family's trust. Gregory ran a hand through his hair. Lexi is devastated. She thinks you planned this to hurt Noah. Ethan pulled out another flash drive. This clears both families of any wrongdoing. Derek alone will face charges. The DA is already involved. Gregory studied Ethan carefully. Why protect us? Because Noah loves Lexi. I don't punish children for their parents' sins. The room fell silent as the weight of the truth settled between them. Together, Ethan and Gregory returned to the estate's grand ballroom. There, they found Noah waiting, confusion and hurt written plainly across his face. Dad, what's going on? Noah asked quietly. They arrested Derek. Mom's losing it. Lexi's parents want to cancel the wedding. Ethan placed his hands firmly on his son's shoulders. Derek made some very bad decisions. It's unfortunate timing, but none of this has anything to do with you or Lexi. Noah looked down, voice barely a whisper. Mum says you planned this. Ethan's voice softened. Your mother's upset and looking for someone to blame. But think who tried to exclude whom today. Gregory stepped forward. Noah, I spoke with Lexi. The wedding will go on as planned. This is a matter for the adults. As they walked toward the ballroom, they passed a small room where Olivia sat alone. Her mascara-streaked face a silent testament to the chaos she'd unleashed. She looked up as Ethan passed. You won, she said quietly. Ethan paused in the doorway. This was never a game, Olivia. Just consequences. 12 years of waiting, pathological, she spat. Not revenge. Justice, he corrected. Derek will face charges. You chose him over our family. I chose to protect our son. Olivia laughed bitterly. You didn't do this for Noah. You did it because you couldn't stand losing. Maybe, Ethan admitted. But tell me, if you hadn't tried to block me today, would any of this have happened? He left her with that thought, rejoining Noah and the Hawthorns. The wedding went on beautiful and resilient. Noah, like his father, refused to let the past overshadow his future with Lexi. Later, Noah found Ethan on the terrace. Did you really plan all this? He asked softly. Ethan looked at the son he had fought so hard for. I planned to protect you, always. Sometimes, the timing is unfortunate. Your mother says I'm ruthless, maybe. But everything I've done has been for you. Noah was silent for a moment. Derek's going to prison, right? Yes. And if your mother's smart, she'll leave him. Will she be okay financially? Ethan nodded. I set up a trust she'll never know about. Not for her, for you. He placed a hand on Noah's shoulder. Now go dance with your bride. This day is yours. As Noah rejoined the reception, Ethan's security chief appeared. It's done, sir. Derek has been processed. The evidence is overwhelming. Offshore accounts frozen. His mistress is trying to flee but won't get far. Ethan nodded. Make sure Olivia gets the divorce papers and proof of Derek's betrayal. A final lesson. In the ballroom below, Ethan watched Noah and Lexi's first dance. Gregory raised his glass in silent respect. Across the room, Olivia caught Ethan's eye. For a moment, a mutual acknowledgement passed between them, not forgiveness, but recognition. She nodded once, then turned away. Ethan Carlisle didn't smile. But for the first time in years, he felt a weight lift from his shoulders. The game was over. Justice Gold and Perfect had been served. He had lost a wife, but saved his son. He destroyed his enemies without compromise, and he did it all on his own terms. Never forgive, never forget, never fail. Some call it ruthless. Ethan calls it living. This is where our story ends. Share your thoughts in the comments. Thanks for your time. If you enjoyed this story, subscribe to my channel, click the video on your screen, and I'll see you next time.